Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. All right, we're jumping in here. How's everyone doing? We're making it work. We're making today happen, and it's Daily Dad's Reflection Day 200, which is pretty amazing. Now, we've had some lost episodes. By that, what I mean is if you check out every single day, you take everything we got going on here, and we will post it over on the podcast on Spotify, on Apple, and all that too. Some lost episodes within there. We still have them. We just need to make sure we get it back around to it. But it's okay. We're showing up here. That's what we got to do. Just like Paris, just like today. Everything we got going on. Everything we got going on today, I think it is about making sure that we are seeing, what is it? The present moment, the moment we're in right now, being where our feet are, however you say it. It's all just going to feel very ordinary. And so every single day can feel just like a copy of the next and the last. So I think one thing that a lot of parents can end up getting into is that rut, that feeling, that lower energy. And I think the bigger thing that we have to make sure that we're kind of thinking about here is how we can always stay present enough to feel pretty good about it. What's going on, MP? MP's making cookies down there in South Jersey. NFL,
Ryan,
NFL
congrats
Network
on this moment today, your 200th show, right?
Oh, thanks, man. It is. Well, I mean, we are well over 200, but if no one knows, this whole thing was started in a conversation over the phone one day. And we felt that it was a necessary thing to highlight some of the people, the dads in our V Friends community. And so we have a V Dads. The V Dads podcast is kind of the start of all of this. And so we had some awesome episodes. MP here right now on the couch. We've got other people, Blaze, and some other people. We were able to interview and see what was going on in their life, how they became who they are as a dad, who they are as a parent. And so we started I think we ended up having about 30 interviews from there. And then we were playing around with different ideas, kind of talking about, a dad coffee talk. We did some nighttime streams. So we are I think we are now well over like 250. But in terms of the morning show, which has always been a weird thing. I've never wanted to call it a show, but maybe it is. I'm not sure. But yeah, it is. It's the 200th reflection of the Daily Dad by Ryan Holiday.
Did I say show? Sorry if I said show.
Oh, no. It's not. No, it's no.
It's so much more than show. So much.
Oh my
more.
Goodness. So much more. We show up with garb, just like this hat. Can I say something?
Yeah.
I've been finding the cold this winter harder than usual.
Any reason why?
No. I will. Okay, I'll tell you this. Personal thing is this. For some reason, the cold is affecting me physiologically. And it did. The first time this ever happened was in 2020. 2020 when the pandemic hit. And so there was a side effect of the COVID virus, right? That apparently would show itself by stay with me here. It would show itself by making your toes like almost like swollen. It was a weird thing. And so that happened. It was a weird moment, whatever happened. But I recently discovered that I think my toes. So there's, I'm really trying to figure this out. So no formal diagnosis, but the idea here is that if anyone's familiar with Raynaud's disease, is not something I'm diagnosed with, but there is something that is similar to that, which is basically how your blood vessels end up becoming constricted in the cold. And then when they heat up too quickly, it can really really hurt the skin around it. And so my toes have been like that lately. So it's been like my toes are feeling like really like raw, and they hurt. And so it sounds so old. And now I'm like, is this why people move to Florida?
Didn't you
Something.
you had that like a toe thing, right? Weren't your toes
Yeah.
all red or something?
Yeah, that was like COVID. That was like COVID time. But then like this whole thing happened, and so it's not like COVID stuff. So I've been ruling things out as we should. And so I'm like, man, the cold just seems to be affecting me now, not just like physically, not psychologically, but just physically. So it does, it changes things. We had our cookie tour yesterday. It's uncomfortable to walk sometimes. Look at that. I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, it's uncomfortable to walk a little bit. I don't feel like I'm making more of it than it actually is, but it is. It's just a thought. Didn't think I'd be talking about this morning, but that's okay. But we're talking about those ordinary moments, Jason. Ordinary moments within parenting. All right, I'm going to set this up. Trying to get some structure here. Like the past two streams, we didn't have a lot of structure in how we were chatting. So we're going to come back to it. And so I want to think about some of these ordinary moments. Think about ordinary moments as a parent. Do we have those, Jason? Do you have those mundane, ordinary times from day to day?
Yeah, I would say those take up most of the day, right?
Even more great for this point right now, right? But I know, like yesterday, we were driving around, so we did our newer tradition. I feel like after 3 years, you can call it tradition. So we were doing our tradition of the cookie tour around New York, because it's nice because you get outside, get in the city. New York is pretty special. 2 times a year for me, Christmas and spring. Pretty amazing place to be. So Christmas, you get to drive around, you see everything decorated. It's a pretty cool thing. We're driving around, and like, we're getting in and out of the car as we kind of like find some cookie places to go to. And Lauren did a good job. She planned it all out. And so we're getting in and out, and we're kind of strapping the kids in every time we got to get back. And like, they didn't love it at first. It was cold. We had to stand in a line for one of them. But this idea of kind of getting back in the car, strapping them in, it feels like a lot of work. And I even said, I was like, man, I really, like, if we were to pass up the next place, I'd be totally fine. I just don't feel like strapping the kids in. I don't feel like getting them out and then bringing them back. It's like, they don't really love to get in and out either. And then like, at some point they're getting kind of loopy because it's like, it's fun regardless. We kind of get them in the car and we're like strapping them in. This is like a mundane thing, right? And there's a moment where I'm kind of realizing, like, I think it's pretty special that we're actually able to have someone trust us enough to like buckle them in. Like, they probably aren't even thinking about it, right? But if they do think back to it, or they think about, are we really safe? Because we did end up forgetting to buckle them in at one point. We like drove a couple blocks. It was fine. Everything was safe. But I think looking back at that moment and looking back, I think later, I'm like, oh, wow, it's really cool that someone gave me all of their trust for me to buckle them in, take care of them, hold their hand across the street. Like, those are the mundane things I'm kind of talking about, or at least some of them, right? Do you have those?
Yeah, I like the buckling in. That turns into telling your kids to buckle themselves in before you start moving on the car. And I guess while we're talking about like buckling in and stuff, I guess one good thought that I just had right now as I went and let my dog out was they all kind of transform into another version of that. You're still in the buckling your kids in stage. I'm in the making them buckle in stage. When they ask, do we have to buckle in for a short trip? I usually say yes, unless it's like up to the park or something.
You don't say that. You say, of course, got to buckle in, right? That's what you got to do. Turn around.
Sometimes I should be.
You said you wanted to go here.
Yeah, but yeah, every little moment like that, those mundane parts, they can all be part of a bigger evolution to the next step of whatever that mundane part is. that's my unrealized thought at this moment, this morning on Sunday when it's cold here as well.
Well, we talked about it, so it's now realized, which I think is great. What's up, Nate? What's up, Craig? So do you feel like you missed that? Do you feel like you missed the moment of being able to buckle them in and take care of them? That small interaction?
No, because it has transformed into the next step. Like, remember when we were talking about that Ed Harris, not Ed Harris,
Ed Harris,
the quote by whatever that show is, Modern Family, when he's talking about the kids, how, you know, it's like they change, and then you don't end up missing that last version of them because you're constantly seeing them transform into the new thing, and like one day and then they're gone, right? And like all those versions, and then walk out the door, whether it's college or marriage or whatever.
Sure.
I don't think you're going to realize all that until that really happens. We could talk about it all I want, but I don't think it makes that final exit any easier, I'm sure.
Sure. I will say, but that's what this is about. So I will agree with you that the exit's going to be hard regardless. Whether it's a relationship with someone, whether it's a parent, whether it's going to be your kids. It's going to be hard once they leave. Once they're there and they're gone, it's going to be hard. But I think that we need to take advantage of this moment right now. So I know when, Wyatt, you threw me off with the Ed Harris thing.
Not Ed Harris. Ed Harris is
I know.
from the Rock. The other
is Ed. I know, you're killing me right now. Ed O'Neill, thank you. I needed that in my head. It was going to bother me if I didn't get it. So with Ed O'Neill, but as we stop here, the trick is you to let them decide. If they decide no, get up to God. Nathan's back. Nath is basically saying, teach them to put their seatbelts on. If you don't see this, he's basically saying, you know, there's ways that you can get into their head why the seatbelt is important. But yes, I think that this is a moment. So if we're thinking about the Ed O'Neill quote from Modern Family, where he's saying that we don't get a chance to say goodbye to the kid before they leave until they all leave. Well, I think this is what this moment is about. It's about making sure that we realize that these mundane moments, like, we have to really absorb them. It's going to be hard regardless once they end up leaving, right? But I think that we have to be even more in the moment where our feet are, and I think that's going to be important. So I'm going to stop for a second and go towards gratitude. So a big thing that I know that we haven't been doing as much lately, because I really tried to pivot and kind of bring gratitude into these moments that we've been talking about and the readings for the day. I just want to say this, is that my gratitude is definitely going to need to be, I think, these right now moments. Now, I know that my sleep has been rocked, and it's never going to be the same again. But with the kids getting up at night and the kids still kind of crawling into bed at night, like, it's never going to be the same. But I also feel very deeply that it is one of those right now moments that we need to appreciate, so that we don't look back and be like, oh man, I wish I did let them sleep with us, or I did wish that, you know, I gave more time to that, right? So whether I think it's like some of that little quiet time before bed, or I'm getting up in the middle of the night, or just kind of think about some, like, if we go through the morning. I know you're a big morning guy, Jason, right?
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
these hard moments, because these moments can be hard, they can be easy, they can be enjoyable, they can be annoying. It's okay for things to be annoying. It's okay for something to be annoying and also a good part of life. But I think that I'm grateful for these kind of moments, because I think that they are reminding me that parenting is always happening. I want that. If that was removed from my life, Jason and I, we recently had exchanges, a text message about how having the kids in our life and the family in our life, that, you know, without it, we'd be operating at a deficit. I think those are my words. I think you agreed to it. But it was something here where...
Remind me of it again. What was it again?
it was a conversation, a text exchange about how if we did not have our families with us, or we weren't with our families, that we'd be operating at a deficit in life. It's okay. We'll get back there later. But what I want to make sure is that it is a privilege that we have this right now. And you have to think about, I got to say, look, this is one of those moments that I need, because if I don't inflate this thought, then I can go the other direction. And I can be, this is also tough. So I need to inflate this thought that parenting and these hard moments are a privilege to be a part of it. And I really do think that it is. But I think I have to inflate this in the moment. I think make it bigger than it is. I need to say that, so that in the next moment, I know it's going to be a hard moment. Mornings are tough rushing out the door, and night times are tough as we get kids ready for bed. But those are all a privilege. And I want to make sure I say that so that I can now take advantage of those moments when my kid asks me to do a Mad Lib with him. I turned it down the other night because I didn't feel like I was in it. But that's special. My kid also asked me, can you help me meditate? I was like, wow, these are really special moments. Turn it down the moment. But I want to be there next time that they actually say it. But also them asking me to be part of it. I don't think that they would do that if I was always like, oh, rush, get in bed, So anyway, that's what I'm grateful for. Those kind of moments, those small ones, those mundane ones. Like, you don't even think about it. Like, what are those mundane ones right now? Here's one. Jason, you want to hear a mundane one?
Give it to me.
Not washing clothes, but turning clothes right side out, which seems to triple the amount of time it takes to do kids' laundry. So it really just rakes against.
A good one. Very, very good one.
It rakes against my nerves sometimes. But I'm gonna say this is that I'm grateful that I can, be able to take care of someone, and they trust me for that, and that they're accepting me in their life. Like, we brought them into this world. So that's it.
Are you at the stage where you are having the girls do their laundry with you?
My now 8-year-old, she has a goal of taking her laundry out when the laundry basket gets to halfway, and then loading the washing machine. So, yeah.
Where they give it away, or sorry, we fold it, we put it away, and once in a while, I try to take advantage of that time by sitting with Kristen, and we do laundry together. Once in a while.
Paint the picture. You guys,
we're sitting on the couch upstairs.
Yeah.
It might be a night that's normal where I'm doing one thing and Kristen starts doing laundry. And once in a while, I have the frame of mind to be like, I'm going to stop what I'm doing. I'm going to go turn this little mundane part of the day into a meaningful day by sitting with my partner, the lovely parent of my girls, and we fold the laundry together. She does a lot faster than I do. I do more of the pants and socks. She knows how to do the shirts really nicely because she used to work at American Eagle. But that's just one way I try to take advantage of the mundane moments, the garbage time.
I also feel that I am I excel at folding laundry because I worked in retail for so long. I've noticed this. I've noticed a lot of your reflections reflect not as much on parenting as much as it reflects on your marriage.
You mean me personally, like me?
You.
Yeah, I think that. Well, so I think I think I had this conversation with you once. Is all this stuff we've been doing in the morning on dadding, I've found very valuable. And at some point a few weeks ago, I was like, what if I also do this for like marriage stuff? So I did buy a book. It's called The Love Dare. And it's kind of similar. I was looking for like a daily meditation type book.
Okay.
It is a lot more based in like the Bible than I thought it would be.
A
Like,
daily reading, I think it more or less could be drawn back to that thought. So, okay.
yeah. So it's like there's a meditation and then there's like it references a scripture. And I am not a religious person really by any means.
You are
But
more than I am.
but since I bought the book, I was like, okay, I'll try it. And I've
Yeah.
only been doing it for about a week. And I still, it's like, the Bible reference is like, I'll try it. We'll see what happens. And, is that something I can open my mind to at 44? So yeah, it's a process.
Religion, you mean open your mind up to the
Open my
Bible,
mind
or
up to like another way, like another, I guess, like another information set, right? Like
okay.
ours right now is like the Daily Dad. And the book that I bought that I thought was something different since I bought it, I was like, okay, I'll take this as a little opportunity. This book came into my life somehow. So I'll do it justice. I'll give it a shot instead of returning it for something non non-religious, I don't know, non-spiritual, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
Another way
But
of
does it,
thinking about it. I'm open to another way of thinking about what it is I'm trying to do.
do you feel that there's less of a need for you to talk about the parenting, that you are maybe more confident there than you are in your relationship with your wife right now? Maybe it's a point in time.
I'll say this: it's a lot easier to let the marriage and partnership slip because of the parenting, right? Like parenting is like that's like number one, and it's really
And
easy.
are you saying that personally, or you think that that is more
Uh,
of a
yeah,
global
yeah, yeah.
acceptance?
Personally, and like I'm at the age, and you might be or will be soon of like having friends going through divorces for any number of reasons. And the more that I think about it, it's like that chance of having things come between you and your wife or your husband just kind of seems to increase as time goes by. And um, I want to be mindful of that because I value it. So I want to do it justice, like I'm doing justice to parenting.
Yeah. I Nate is questioning weekly husbands. It could definitely be a point of, I think it'd be good. I think it could be a great topic, in fact. I also think that there are people out there, and I've met them, that they do prioritize their marriage, which appears to me they approach their marriage as more important than parenting. And I could be saying that wrong, and if those people were sitting with me, they might use different words to describe it. But I think that there are parents who will heavily put their children first. You know who talked about this was Brene Brown. I mentioned a while ago. Are you familiar with Brene Brown, Jason?
Yeah.
Okay. If no one is, go look her up. Probably if you do look up Brene Brown, she is probably best known for one of her talks on TED Talks. She basically is an expert looking into shame and shame in particular. I was going to say grief. It's not grief, but shame and other feelings, right? So looking at that kind of stuff. And one thing in particular that she had mentioned, this was actually on the Tim Ferriss podcast. She talked about this. So look up Brene Brown.
That's actually the last time probably the first time and also the last time that I listened to her at length. It was that episode.
The Tim Ferriss.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was talking about how she very, very much looks at her family as a family first and not I'm going to butcher exactly the terminology she used, but she was like, we are a family first. We're not like parenting first. We don't put the kids first. And by that, what I mean is what she was saying is that if her and her husband are not able to show up 100%, they look at their life like they're social people. And they were saying that, it's important for them to show up and be with friends and be with family and all this kind of stuff. But if they look at their calendar, which I think, first of all, looking at the calendar, sitting down together with your spouse is, a pretty is a pretty great skill and habit to be having that a lot of people don't. I know I'm not sitting down looking at my calendar with Lauren, but if they look at their calendar and something's coming up, say like a dinner on Friday, and they think about it, and she says, all right, we got this dinner on Friday, and she says, you know what, I'm running 50% right now. I like 50% energy, physically, mentally, whatever's going on. And then her husband might end up saying, you know what, I'm running like 40% right now. If they don't equal 100% together, they're going to take something off of their to-do list, off of their social calendar, but also off of their calendar altogether. And that could be like a kid's sports game if they're traveling somewhere. And so she was saying, it's like, it doesn't matter what is on our calendar. It doesn't matter that our kids have something. We might end up deciding as a family that we're not going to do that because we want to be stronger together as a unit, which I've always loved. Which I think is interesting, and something that I'm struggling with now is that I do realize Lauren, being in my relationship, personal, I know that she is very much a social creature, first and foremost. She is not as much of a one-on-one type of person. She can be, but I think that her mind goes towards this social stage first. I definitely am not. I'm the person who would rather kind of be more on that one-on-one, those like smaller groups of people. And so it's hard to kind of think about, now we just have differing desires on what we want to do with our week. So anyway, talking about dadding, parenting, being a spouse, all these things, I think is definitely great. But I would love to make sure that it is something to keep bringing up. Have you felt that these meditations, though, have been helpful with the marriage aspect?
Yeah, less so than like it's more of a reach, and not in a bad way. It's like they're a little bit more generalized. I also just started it, so I don't know what like the middle of the book looks like. And I bought it totally based on the reviews that were on Amazon or something.
What was it called again?
It's called The Love Dare.
The Love Dare. Is it pushing you to complete actions?
It's the same exact thing as like the Daily Dads does, where it's like it just kind of helps you acknowledge like the things that you're already doing.
Okay.
It's like, you're already doing these little mundane moments. You're already having these garbage times. You're already trying to extend the good times, and you're already like, when you're frustrated, it's like you're just trying to like wait until that frustrated point is over, whether it's like tucking in, and kind of like how the Daily Dad like gives us an opportunity to reflect on that and kind of be mindful of it. I'm assuming this book is kind of the same thing, where it's like whether you're in an argument or whether you're in a season of like miscommunication, just to be able to reflect on it a little bit more than just the default of muscling through it.
Do you think you can be a good parent without being a good spouse?
I think it's
I don't know if I like that question, but I'm going to leave it.
Yeah, well, let's mold it into something. I think it's a lot easier to, I feel like I'm surrounded and like marinating in parenthood right now, because got 3 girls under 12. It's extremely easy to go through a few days where you don't have you don't have like a quality conversation with your spouse, or like take a few minutes and acknowledge them. Super easy. In fact, that's like, I guess it was more like last year, where it was like, reflecting back on last year specifically, I'm like, oh yeah, like me and Kristen, we really weren't really there together. We were definitely parenting side by side, but not really not really together, you know.
Hmm.
But we acknowledged it. We were able to acknowledge it, and I think we're in a much better place. And I think that's
So
totally normal. I think that's a totally normal part of marriage. And you either let it fester or it gets ignored until somebody finally says can't do it anymore. And I'm saying
mhm.
this because I've had I had a good discussion with a dad that I just met at a playground. Remember when we were talking about like the default conversations at playground that you hear, like parents just or dads just end up talking about jobs, you know?
I hate it. Yep.
So I took that opportunity to see can I push this and like really make this like a good, meaningful meeting of dads, and it went really well. It was like we went a little bit like I without pushing. We talked. He went into a little bit more detail about like why him and his wife separated, and um, I could see parts of me in what he was explaining, and I think it was a good example of like when things are let go, they can definitely fester or they just don't grow. Um, and like I talked about, like the struggles I went that me and Kristen have gone through a little bit. So
Can I ask, how did this conversation start? You didn't want to keep it with kind of the small talk. You wanted to go past that, maybe a little quicker. You wanted to make sure that it was a safe space really quickly to talk about it. How did you go from this, the initial comfort of talking about those things and then jumping right in? Was there a signal from someone else? Did you muscle it through because you knew it was going to be a good thing, or what did you do?
I kind of went in with like the intention of making this like a quality time instead of just like two dads sitting around watching their kids. Like
Like
actually,
before you got there, you said, "Let's talk about this." Is that what
I
you
did.
said?
I had the intention. Like I never, never met this guy before. So I was like, okay, I'm going to attempt to make this like a good meeting where we go a little bit deeper than just the surface level conversations. Um, and I feel like we had a good conversation where he may have been able to talk about some things that maybe were on his mind that normally he doesn't normally get to talk about.
Okay. And he felt comfortable, you think, right away?
I think we were both. It's not like I went in. It's not like I went in and be like, let's talk about you and your separation. It's not. That's not how it went. It was just like we were talking about like,
Yeah.
it started with like he has 3 kids too, and we just started with the challenges that come with that, and how it was a nice day, and it was a Sunday, and then I mean, it was all very organic, but
Good. Yeah.
some you know
Well, I think that, again, the reason talking, I think, to dads is because it's an underserved population. And it is, I think that there is a lot, you use the word fester, and a lot of things can really begin to pile up, not get talked about, not get brought up. I think it's taboo, but if we can bring them up here, I think it's that much more. Yeah, why don't you kind of think about the idea of talking more about the dadding outside of the relationship? I think that would be a really good thing for you to bring up. Let us know how the book is going.
yeah, I'll check in from time to time.
Yeah,
Oh,
the hat you're wearing
also
confuses
something that
me.
it's also something that I'm hoping that like me and Kristen can read together. She grew up Catholic, but like doesn't really go to church anymore. So I don't know if that'll have any more legs as we go through it.
It doesn't need to be religious, though. You said
Say it again.
you can read it without religious undertones, right?
Yeah, my intention is to. It's like I don't want to be closed off to it just because it's the Bible. I'm
Is it,
open-minded.
wait, hold on. How religious is this reading getting? Do you have the book with you?
Okay, so it's a tiny book. Looks like this. It's like it has a meditation, and then on the bottom of the page, it usually says read. So, for example, this is day 93. Love does not complain. This says it starts with do everything without complaining or arguing, which sounds impossible. But then at the bottom it says read James 5:7 through 11 and study the powerful reasons mentioned why we should never complain. I'm probably going to complain at some point. Okay. But like,
yeah.
But
I was just saying anything that becomes as absolute as learn why never to do this again.
Yeah. Like there's going to be pages that I'm like, I don't know. I'm forcing myself to be open-minded to it because I bought it, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do my due diligence and give it a shot before I move on and try to find something else.
Do you have a Bible?
No, I don't. I have the internet.
Okay, got it. It does sound like it's supposed to be just an add-on to those readings, or to pull someone back into, religious scripture. It does sound that way.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel, and I'm like, I'm not sure. It's like, I mean, I feel like I'm a pretty open-minded person with like literally everything else in my life, or anything else that might come my way. So my attitude is, okay, why not this? I'll just open up. I'll try it. Why not? Maybe there'll be some good insight in there. So,
yeah, Nate, you are very wise. Jason, are you commenting on YouTube right now?
No, I commented on the comment section of on SteamYard, and then it automatically. I think when you comment on StreamYard, it automatically defaults to commenting on the YouTube channel.
Yeah, it might. But the interesting thing altogether, to me, it sounds like the notes, I think, that are basically written after reading scripture by, I think, the pastor, and then they just took their notes and then put them into a small book and said, okay, now read my notes backwards. Read my notes and then go back to the Bible. It sounds like that, which is a great business strategy if that is what's been done. But it sounds like it's great. It's getting you to think about it. I love that. And so good stuff, man. I like it. But that, I think you are looking at those smaller, mundane moments, taking care of them. I like that you mentioned about folding laundry with Kristen. I think that's awesome. I know that we're well over 30 minutes. That's okay, though. It's fine. We will.
I got time if you got time. I'm not doing anything else. Everybody else is sleeping.
No, I always have time. But then again, I won't get anything else done. So I love you. And I'm not shutting you down by saying I'm going to go. But I'm going to go start taking care of things for the rest of the day.
Even though you're shutting me down, I love you too.
I'm not shutting you down. I just can't look at your hat anymore. It confuses me. Your hat confuses me. This is why. Because it's like it's supposed to give you warmth, but it's just giving the top of your head warmth. And then when you pull it down to your ears, you're already, it doesn't, like, where is it?
Like that?
Gets me. Yeah, I don't know.
Is this better?
Does it feel better? Does it feel warmer?
Both ways keeps my head warm.
This way.
This keeps the top of my head warm. My new haircut, and then this keeps my ears warm. And then if it's snowing or raining, I can wait. Does this come down? I always thought this.
Why would it come down?
Nope. Yeah. This is sewed shut. I thought this was a brim.
Nate, go get some sleep, buddy. I hope you have a good day. All right, look, I'm gonna go get some stuff done for the day. But if anything, guys, get back from what we're trying to get at today talked a lot about, I think, dad life versus spouse life. But if you guys can do anything today, do this. I want you guys to try and find at least one of those ordinary moments that are going on, or at least stop yourself at a moment that you think is not special. Probably find a mundane something within there. And I would hope that you guys can maybe think about it, appreciate it, to the fullest. Again, whether it's tomorrow driving your kids to school, whether it's making breakfast this morning, whether it's going to be folding their laundry or turning their laundry right side out, right? But I hope that you can definitely take advantage of that moment, think about how special it really is and how it's not going to be with you forever. And so sit with it, share it with us. All right, guys. All right, we're going to end it. Love you, dudes. Have a great rest of your day. Stay warm. Keep your ears warm, people.
Always, especially in this season.
All right, we'll see you later. Bye.
Goodbye.